Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome to an LED Understairs light project video thing. What we got here, we've got various different components that I just had left over from other projects. So we've got a connector block, battery connection, there's some sort of like sensor micro switch there, and some LEDs. And I'm just going to shove all this together because our understair cupboard is, pretty dark in there. There's no light or anything. In the mornings it's not too bad because the sun comes right through and you can see, but in the afternoons it gets not as bright in that direction, and then all of a sudden you can't see what you're doing in the cupboard. And of course at night it's not good at all, even if you've got the light on in the living room. Anyway, so here we go. What I've done here is I'm just bending all the legs of the LEDs so that they fit in this connector block, and we've got 2 rows of LEDs on top of each other. So that's 3 LEDs in series, and each of those sets of 3 are then also in parallel. Or you could say it's 2 in parallel and in 3 series. Depends which way around you want to look at it. But each of the 2 LEDs there are connected to the same point so that the power just daisy chains along. And the reason why we're using sets of 3 is because this battery I'm going to use here is a 9-volt battery, and these LEDs are rated somewhere around the 3.1 volts mark. So I'm just going to try and pass a current over the row of the 3 LEDs. Now that way doesn't work, so just got to change the polarity, because that fixes everything, especially in sci-fi. And there we go, all 6 glow. So let's actually make this into something that's going to be useful. I've got some wire left around. I prefer to use single core wire like this on most projects, just because it's easier to work with and I can strip it with pliers because I'm lazy. So I'm going to get some black, and then I'm going to get some red, and then I'm going to fit it into the connector block here. So it's a very simple circuit, it really is. You've got your 6 LEDs all in their daisy chain. And then you just run your battery across the LEDs with a switch in between. So red from the battery going into, I'm just checking it's the right way around, there we go. So the red one's going in there, so I'm just using the 5th connector block segment just to bring the battery and the switch together, and then the switch will go back into the first one, I think. No. The battery goes into the first one, then the 4th one goes out to the switch, back into the 5th one, which goes to the battery. There we go, you can see that there. And let's test that. Yep, that's working. So I've just connected that up to the switch. It took me some time to do that because it's a switch that I used for something else a long time ago, and I don't really need it now. And it was quite messed up with solder and bits of wire, so I took a while to clean that up, and then I attached the cables. So getting rid of the rest of the connector block because I don't need that now. And all of these components, like I said, are just bits I had left over from different projects. So this is essentially costing me nothing. But if you wanted to buy all these components online, you can probably find good places to do so. But usually with a lot of things like the LEDs, you have to buy them in batches of like 100, and that's one of the main things, reasons why I've got things left over. So there we go, battery in, lights are on, press the switch, and they go off, which is exactly what we want. So we'll install this in a second, but I'll just say, if you want to look for buy components like this, then check out for micro switches and LEDs and so forth. eBay is quite a good place to go. So there's the full assembly, connector block, switch and battery. And this is the cupboard that we were talking about. So I'm going to try and fix it in, but unfortunately because of the stairs, you can see in the top of the corner of the cupboard there, it actually makes it quite difficult to get in. And I didn't have any screws I wanted for the micro switch, so I'm just going to use a nail. Now this nail was just about the right size, perfect really for what I wanted, so I decided to use that instead of screws, and it just, with one, held it perfectly in place. So I'm just going to test it now, get into the cupboard, I know, and that worked okay. So now I'm just putting one screw in the connector block and attached it to the inside of the door frame, and I'm just going to hang the batteries over the edge of the connector block. There we go. So they're on now. So I'm going to grab you, bring you into the cupboard with me so you can see. But that's it. It's all done. Simple as that. All I will do after the video here is I'll just tidy up the cables and make them run round the edge. But there's the lights. We're in the cupboard. Let's close ourselves in, and off they go. Well, I've been Master Hellish. I hope you've enjoyed this little project. Until I see you next time, goodbye.